We are going to give people some 5 minutes so that we start around 10. So let's give people just a few minutes.
Oh, man.
I can see 3 people online. We are giving people just a few minutes and then we start. Welcome, everyone. We are about to start. Let's just give participants like 2 minutes and then we start. I think, Esther, we can now start. The rest will find us tumeshaanza. We have started. So karibu sana, everyone. PELUM Kenya appreciates your support by joining this live stream. Today we are going to learn about seeds and everything about seeds. So karibuni sana. Please feel free to ask questions after the session. And I'm privileged to invite one of our master trainer, Esther, She's also going to introduce herself and where she's from, where she works, and then we start. So thank you and welcome, and you're here to learn. And from these lessons that we learned today, we hope that you can disseminate to other farmers and other policymakers so that we have seeds in our systems in agroecology. So karibu sana Esther, you can now start.
Thank you so much, Madam Ratemo. I thank you for giving me this opportunity so that I can share what I have with the other people. I know I don't know everything, and so we are going to just learn what I have. And thank you so much, the other master trainers, for joining us. And you're so much welcome. All the other people who are listening today, you're so much welcome to be with us, and let us learn together. So, good morning. So today we are talking about seeds. And why do we have seeds? How do we grow food seeds? And how do we go about saving our seeds? I'll start by maybe outlining what we are going to learn today. We are going to look at the history of the seed. Why do we have to save seed? The type of seeds that we have, pollination of seeds and pollination challenges, steps to harvest and clean and store seeds, longevity of seeds after you save, and resources, and of course my final thoughts. I'll first start by preaching to you this morning, and I will preach from Genesis first, verses 11 to 13. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetables, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruits with seed in it, according to their various kind." And it was so. Verse 12, the land produced vegetables, plants bearing seeds according to their kind, and trees bearing fruits with seeds in according to their kinds. And God saw that was good. And number 13, verse 13, and there was everything, and there was morning, and the third day. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be your food. My preaching ends there. So you have heard, with seed, that is where we shall get our food. Let us go to the history of the seeds. We can ask ourselves first, where did the seed companies come from? When we look at the history, you'll find that in 1854, there was no farmers just exchange seed. They said they saved their own seed. They had they even never thought that seed can be an issue in this world. Then there came a first company of the world, of the seeds in the world, and in 1866, the first commercial seed producing company was launched, which was selling cabbage, kales, and things like in 1945, we started now getting the hybrids. by then they were in the West, but with time we started getting them in our region, in East Africa, in Africa. And so at the end of the day, we have so many companies that are selling seeds. We have seeds that even have, seed companies that are even producing arsenic chemicals like herbicides, so that they are selective to their seeds. And up to date, we have like 10 seed companies in the world that like account for 67% of the seeds that are in the market. Of course, I know you know some of the seed companies that dominate the world. Yeah, like one I know you are thinking about. How do we grow our own seeds? And where does it come? How do we start it? How do we start growing our own seeds? Let me just say this. Since I started knowing myself as Esther, and the way I love seeds and the way I love farming, I have a saying. I say, my seed, my life. My seed, my life. That is my saying. Let us now go to define what is a seed. A seed is the embryo of life. It is actually the beginning of life. Look at everything in the world that doesn't start with a seed or an embryo. So in the real sense, seed is the beginning of life of everything in the world. Any seed has a potential to grow to maturity and to be food. And of course, nowadays we see seeds having a lot of influence in human life, because if we don't have seed, then we don't have food at all. Of course, there are so many people coming up with ideologies about seeds, but let us say without seeds, then we don't even have food for tomorrow, or even today, we don't. We are going to look at the seed right from the stage one, when it is a small seed, then when it starts germinating, then up to when it become food, and then for those who want to save seeds, up to the time it becomes seed to replant in the next season. So how do we go about this? Of course, you'll have to prepare your land. First of all, you'll have to know which seed do you want to grow. We shall see it there down a little bit. But now, when we are growing our seeds, you must prepare your site very well, especially for the small seeds. Let us talk about cabbage. You'll have to prepare a seed bed. If you're planting leeks, those ones you'll have to prepare seed beds. But if you're planting things like cereals, then you plant them direct. So for them, you don't have to have a lot of preparation of the land, apart from making sure the land is well cultivated, and good application of manure. We say it is very important to make sure, especially when you're planting the small seeds, you have to make your soil a little bit fine, so that the seed can be able to come out strongly. Because if you put some coarse materials, they will prohibit that seed from coming up. Then I know you have learned a lot about manure since Monday. So you'll have to have your ready compost. I'm not going to repeat this because I know You have learned with Mr. Derito on Monday about compost preparation, so I'll not repeat. But your compost must be ready, very highly compost, like cured, before you take it to the garden, or before you start growing your seeds. Then we are talking about the seed. As I said there before, when you're planting big seed like maize or cereals, then in that case you don't have a lot of preparation of the land. You will just make sure your farm is well cultivated, and again you will sort out the seeds that you are planting. Of course, you don't want to plant seeds that are moldy, they have mold, or they have rotten. You'll have to select good seeds. They should be whole. Ensure your seeds, especially the maize, should have the heart. You know, like a small thing that looks like heart. It should be whole, not invested by the pest or any disease. Ensure they are clean. Okay, when you have planted your seeds in the garden, how do you make sure that you prepare your plant to produce very good seed or food in future? Number one, seed management in the land. You must make sure that plant get enough water. Do not waterlog the plants, but make sure they get enough water. You weed the plants to ensure that they don't compete with other weeds in the shamba. Ensure you don't hurt the plant as it grows. Maybe you can use your hands or a hoe, but ensure you don't hurt that plant when growing. Again, when you're growing your crop for seeding, make sure you don't put them so close. If they are so close, or like look at the first photo here, they are so closely spaced. So in this case, you'll have to remove. We call it thinning. You remove the ones that are not so healthy, or you can decide if the ones that are not so healthy are very small, then you can uproot them and put them somewhere else to wait for them to continue growing. And if the big ones are ready for consumption or can be used for planting, then you remove those ones. Some people will also get them and put them for animals. Yeah. Again, when you're growing your seed, ensure that that plant in the garden has enough compost, has enough nutrients. Like, for example, if all plants, most of the plants need a lot of zinc, phosphorus, boron, nitrogen, and you will find some nutrients and unlock others to be used by plant. Like, for example, if you apply so much zinc on plant, and that zinc doesn't have phosphorus, then that plant will not be nice. It will still look weak. Look at that plant that is there. This plant shows a purple color, meaning there is deficiency of phosphorus. So if this plant, so what you're supposed to do, you have to balance on your application phosphorus and zinc, so that that zinc can support uptake of the phosphorus. Most of the plant nutrients will help each other to be uptaken by the plant. Again, the zinc is very good because it helps the plant to even break the seed, to break dormancy and to grow strongly. Nitrogen is very good. It makes the plant look green. Yeah. And the phosphorus make the plant look at least strong. My slides are not moving. Hello.
Maybe you can stop sharing and then I help you to the slides.
Okay, it has moved.
Then continue. Thank you.
Yeah. Another thing is that when we are doing our seed cultivation, you have to ensure that they have enough calcium. If you don't put enough calcium, then your plants will not have, especially the ones that are for seeding, most of the time they die because they can't retain a lot of water if they don't have enough calcium. So ensure whenever you're growing, especially we call them squash family, Kakabitaes, ensure they have enough calcium because they actually have, they need a lot of water. So ensure that you give enough calcium. If they don't have enough calcium, look at that plant, the way it will look like. That is how it will look like, and not looking so good. And again, whenever you are growing your plants, ensure you have enough sorry for that. I'm talking about, I was talking about the diseases for some beans, especially look at this bean. It has been affected by seed-borne disease. Most of the time, if it lacks some calcium in it, this is what will happen. There are some other diseases for cereals. Look at this anthracnose. We also have beans mosaic. Most of them are most of these diseases are brought by lack of calcium in seeds in a plant. Again, this is cucurbit. Look at that. If it doesn't have, those are some of the diseases that affect the seeds as they grow. Those are cucurbits. They're affected by mosaic virus. I believe you have seen these things in the garden. And so ensure whenever you're growing your crops, you have enough calcium. And again, I believe you remember how when Dr. Mihindo was training yesterday about diseases, how to treat your crops. So on IPM, so ensure all the methods are well utilized when you're growing your crops. How to control seed-borne diseases? Most of the seed-borne diseases are caused by pathogens. So, well, make sure most of the time, whenever you have seed-borne disease, you can do hot water treatment or hot air or steam. Yeah. For the radiation, I don't know how many people will do it, but hot water normally is good. You pass the seed through the hot water. Okay, when you're growing crops, I mean seeds or any crop, you also have to ensure that your soil is healthy. If your soil is not healthy, then even the seeds that you're going to produce as food or as seeds, they will not be healthy. And so you will be fighting every now and then with the diseases and pests. So ensure that the soil is healthy, even the crop that you're growing, the seed itself is healthy and it's free from pests and diseases. Again, we say ensure that the seeds that you're planting are resistant. Look, if you're growing things that are not resistant to your area of operation, like for example, in my area is very hot. If I bring seeds that are very delicate or for high land weather, then in my area they might not really do well. So ensure the seeds that you're planting at your area, they are resistant to any kind of weather adversities or any disease adversities. Again, when you're doing your growing of food or seeds, ensure you do crop rotation. This will ensure that you don't have a lot of pests and diseases don't repeat themselves, and your land stays free. I mean, you break the cycles. Again, good hygiene of the farm. Most of the farms, you see somebody is growing food or seeds, and then you find there are things that are in the garden that don't even decompose. Like for example, a lot of plastic materials in the farm, old shoes, old clothes. Of course, they are not going to decompose, and so they are dirty. They are dirtifying your shamba. That farm doesn't look hygienic. Again, keep checking on your soil pH. Whenever you're growing your seeds, ensure you keep checking your soil pH to ensure that you have good results. Because if the soil is so acidic, then you tend to lose some seeds. If it is so alkaline, then sometimes the production is very low. Again, when you're doing your planting, ensure timely planting and timely sowing. Timely sowing and timely harvesting. Sometimes if you do against seasons, for example, for now, we are in March. Most of people are preparing to plant their farms because it will rain in April. And April, May, June, there will be it will be a little bit wet on the ground. Then from there, it dries a little bit up to October. If you plant your seeds in January, when there is no rain, then your expectations of getting high yield, then that goes wrong. If you plant at this season, when everyone is planting, when there is enough rains, then your expectation of getting good yield goes high. Again, when we are doing seeding or food growing, ensure that you're doing companion planting. Companion planting is planting of beneficial crops together. Like for example, if you're growing cucumber, you're growing maize, you can grow them together so that the cucumber can provide a cucumber prohibits some pests from attacking the maize, and then the cucumber can thrive in the maize. Sometimes you can do beans and maize to ensure that the beans provide nitrogen in the soil, and then the beans cover the ground, and then the maize covers this, provides shade for the beans. Yeah, such. Again, when you produce for seeding, especially for seeding, ensure that you have good buffer. Create a good buffer zone. Like for example, if you're somewhere and your neighbors are growing hybrids, let us talk, for example, you're growing, you want to grow open pollinated seeds and you want to preserve them. Your neighbor is growing GMOs. If you don't have good buffer, especially life buffer, then in that case, you are sure you are not going to get clean or pure breed as you wanted because of pollination. So for seeding, ensure that you create good buffer. You can grow napier grass along, you can grow maize, even maize can help. I mean, sorry, even sorghum can help. If you're producing maize, then on your buffer is millet, then that can work. Or live fence. Ensure whatever you're growing your seed from, you create a buffer such that your crops are not they are not cross-pollinated by your neighbors' crops. On the other hand, you'll have to, whenever you're growing your crops for seeding, ensure that you treat them against pests and diseases. I'm not going to repeat that because I know Dr. Mihindo yesterday did a good job. So you can use garlic, you can use eggshell to deter the cutworms from the soil. Again, you can use ash. Ash, remember we have a limitation of using ash. And the diatomaceous earth, I don't know whether you know, it kills slugs. Again, remember what Mr. Derito talked about on Monday, that if your soil is well composted with good and well decomposted manure, compost, then in that case, your crop will be healthy and it will not be attacked by any kind of pests or diseases. These are some of the things that you can use to control pests and diseases. Sulfur blue, you learned about it yesterday with Dr. Mihindo, so I'm not going to repeat that. Yeah, let us go to the type of seeds that we have. We talk about heirloom seeds. Heirloom seeds are our own seed, the indigenous seed, open pollinated seed. They are the varieties we desire to keep because they keep on and on over years, many years. So if possible, whenever we are keeping our seeds, let us ensure we are keeping heirloom seeds. For vegetables, normally, especially the ones you see in the groceries, normally, I don't know whether we have those which are heirloom, but of course for cereals, yes. For example, seeds that are hybrid or GMOs, we don't keep them. We don't save them. Why? Number one, they are not reliable. Most of them have gene terminant, meaning when they grow, you grow them next, some may not even grow very well. Again, some others will cross-pollinate very fast, meaning you'll not get the pure breed that you wanted. Others will not give you the desired variety that you wanted. You think you saw the first generation seed of hybrid and you wanted to grow it so that you can still get that one. But in the real sense, it will not be a pure breed. You'll end up having a very low quality seeds. They're actually not the best for keeping. again, some people will think they are keeping the hybrid for several reasons, like taste, colors, size, which of course, when you are preserving the hybrid, may not happen. They will disappoint you. Okay, how do we find heirloom seeds? Most of the time, our heirloom seeds are with our friends. You will not go to an agrovet and buy heirloom seeds. They exist just locally with our mummies, with our grannies. So whenever you find, like in my community, we have a seed, we call it Gevigo. That Gevigo, you will only find it with some people, somewhere they have kept it for themselves. So even if you go to an agrovet, you'll never find it. So most of the time, they are with your friends and your neighbors, and even other farmers that you associate with. Again, as organization that keep seeds, like GBIAC, like C-Shape, like Seed Savers, like BioG, they are seed savers, all of them. And so if you want those heirloom seeds, of course you'll get them from there. I don't know whether for now they have them, because farmers are planting, and I know like in C-Shape, many have come for them. So I'm not so sure whether you get it from other people. What are the benefits of saving our seeds? Number one, in engaging in life, in cycle of life. Definitely, when we plant this time, the next time we know we have food and we have seeds. It's not like when we go to an agrovet, you plant, you buy seeds, and then next time you'll have to come back to buy another seed, because the other ones were GMOs, or they were hybrid, and so you can grow them again. So with the heirloom seed, you are sure you are contributing to the circle of life. Number two, to preserve our heirloom varieties, like to preserve our Gevigo seeds. Those ones that are still maintaining. I don't know whether you still you may miss, like me, I miss the maize that we used to eat when I was young, especially when you roast it. You could smell the roasted maize from very far away. Today, even when you are there, when you are roasting it, there is no smell. There is no that nice smell. There's not that taste that you feel like you want it. So we would like to preserve that variety that is had very highly desirable qualities. Again, we want to encourage genetic diversity. If your area has a certain kind of seed, my area has a certain kind of seed that adapts to that area. So we want to preserve that seed. So that's why we are saving that seed. And again, to save on money, do you want to keep going to buy seeds after every planting season? You don't want to. So this is how we participate in the circle of life, by preserving our own seeds. Look at these varieties that are in these pictures, and go back to your area. Have you seen such kind of maize? Look at yellow maize. I can see black maize, blue maize, maroon maize. Some look like green maize. Look at this maize that is having so many colors. We used to see them there before, but are they very common today? Today we see white maize, very tall, because they have, of course, been researched for. They want to produce very many seeds. Like very, they say they want to produce a plant with high yield. So you'll find like Pioneer is very tall with so many seeds, but not tasty. As I said there before, our maize was tasty. And so, and maybe our maize wasn't so long. This is so long. Yeah. Look at those maize. Look at those ladies. They are carrying it. You feel like they are in touch with their seeds. So we want to preserve that variation of seeds, diversity of seeds. Okay, now look at this maize. You see the way they have filled their kernel, like it's coming like a curve. There's a maize, if you look good, look at this. This one has a dent on top. It has a dent, and this one has a curve. These ones, we used to see this one there before, because they are very good. They are hard. These ones are hard enough. They're even not easy to be attacked by pests like weevil. But these ones, the newly varieties, they have that dent. They are soft. Of course, the weevils will be able to eat them very well. And normally most of them are not so hardy, so they are affected by many other diseases. And that's, most of the hybrids look like this. Most of the heirloom seeds look like this. Okay. How do we preserve our heirloom seeds, our original seeds? Look at this. Have you seen this? Go back to your community or your home. Have you seen this kind of beans in your area? Can you relate to what I'm saying about the original beans that we had? Akina black bean, akina rose cocoa. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Save seed, save money. Let me say here clearly, our health depends on the seed diversity that we have. Our health depends on the seed diversity we have. Why do I say that? Remember, if we don't have a lot of food, many type of seeds. For example, it could be one type like malenge or pumpkin, but many varieties. You are able to eat many varieties. Those many varieties are able to grow in different areas, meaning they are able to adapt to different areas, meaning many people from many different areas are able to eat that variety because we have enough diversity. For any seed to become a seed, there must be pollination. I don't know, have you ever seen a seed without pollination? I don't think so. So when we are talking about pollination, for us it's very, very important. And we say, like, for example, we organic farmers, we must preserve our bees to help us in our pollination. There are seeds that are self-pollinated. There are seeds that are cross-pollinated. Some are cross-pollinated by wind. Others are cross-pollinated by bees. So for anything to become a good seed, pollination must be there. What do we know about pollination? Number one, pollination impacts our seed quantity and quality. If a plant is not well pollinated, then the seed quantity goes low and the seed quality also goes low. For maximum yield or very good quality or quantity, you must make sure that pollination occurs very well. Most of the seeds are able, if you keep your farm well and you create environment for bees, you create you don't spray your farm, then you create good environment for good pollination. For the things that are self-pollinated, like tomatoes, beans, and lettuce, there are challenges. If you don't again ensure there is enough water for them to grow up very well, enough nutrients, you must ensure that that plant is well maintained. For cross-pollination, of course, you have to allow weeds, bird, insects, like that one those ones can't even fit in the greenhouses or the shade nets. They will fit more outside. But for the self-pollinated, they can do very well even in the greenhouse. Although for organic PESE, if you can minimize the event of having a greenhouse, the better. How do you control pollination? Your plants require pollination either by wind, by insect, by birds. You can use them. Sometimes it will call for you to do it physically, even especially when you're doing for few plants. You can do it. You bring this flower, and I don't know how you're going to identify whether the pollens are fit for that plant, but you have to make sure that pollens they get into the stigma of the other plant for pollination. If you are suspecting your plants are not really getting pollinated. The other thing, if you want to make sure that you're getting pure breed, again, you will have to do, sometimes you'll have to do physical pollination, because you have in mind what you want to get, the seed you want to get. So in that case, in that instance, you will pollinate it on yourself. Again, to get a good variety, you will again need to know what the other people are growing, so that when you're getting your seeds from another person, you are getting what exactly you want. You're not mixing with other varieties. You want to get the pure breed, so you have to know what the other people have, the other seed savers, so that you can bring in the only pure breed that you want. The other thing is, if you want a pure breed seed, again, after hard pollinating, you'll have to exclude that plant from bees. because bees will come to pollinate it with a different kind of pollen. So after you pollinate it, exclude it. Yeah. When to harvest seeds? Ideal time to harvest seed varieties from a plant to plant. Most of the time, ensure before you start harvesting seed, that plant has grown to maturity. And for example, those that ripen, you must make sure, like for example, if you want to preserve seeds for tomatoes, or even from all the kaka beets, you must make sure that plant is completely mature and even over like ripening. Some seed like melon get ready when that fruit is ready for consumption. So you must make sure that whenever you're selecting a seed for saving, that seed has completely matured. Look at that maize. It will tell you, now I'm ready for harvesting, because it has matured, it has even fallen down, so it is completely ready for harvesting. The same case to beans. Ensure they are completely dry. Some even start shattering. So that seed is ready for harvesting and saving. For flowers, like for sunflower, sometimes when you let the sunflower to overstay in the garden, they will be eaten by bugs, by birds. So wait until the flower seeds are out, they are completely mature, and they have like dropped the head. Then you'll cut it and you bag it. You put something in, like the paper bag, not the plastic ones, but the khaki ones. You put in the head inside, then you dry it from a house or in-house, very dry house, but you just hang it somewhere so that it can continue drying, no moisture, nothing that can bring water inside. And so that plant is, that head is kept dry, so it will continue drying and dropping the seeds into the bag. Yeah, for such seeds like sunflower, even leeks, even onions. Yeah, there are other seeds. We call them dry seed and wet seeds. Like for example, of dry seeds, beans, broccoli, cabbage, chilies, kales, maize, lettuce, pepper. All of them are dry because they don't have water. They don't have sap in them. So they are easy to clean, they are easy to keep. Others are wet seeds like cucumber, melon, passion, squash, tomatoes, like them. So when we are drying dry seed, when you want to keep dry seeds, you only wait for them to completely dry from the farm. Then okay, if you are in hurry, or for example, you see it's gonna rain before you harvest, before you remove them from the farm, then you can harvest them when they are completely mature, then come and dry them you put them on the ground the way we put them normally. They dry, but ensure they are completely dry. Winnow them like the way this woman is doing. to remove the chaff from them. And then for the ones that you want to, I forgot to say something. For these dry seeds, like for example, maize, and you want to keep the seeds, when they are in the garden, you will need to identify the plants that you want to keep for seeds. Like for example, you have what you have in mind. Like for example, I need this maize because it has produced 2 maize, or I need this maize because it is big, or it has tall stalk. So you will mark it from the farm. Normally we say you tie a bright ribbon or just something. Like for example, if you can tie that maize with red ribbons, if it is a quarter an acre or a whole land, the ones that you want to identify, you go tie them, and let the people know that you have tied them for your seed. Then when you're harvesting, when they are, you let them grow together with the others, but now you will remove them from the farm just before you remove the others, to make sure that they don't mix with the others. You will remove them first, then you keep them separate, and then you remove the other ones and keep them separately. So then you continue with the other process, like removing from the, you clean them from the chaff, and then you ensure the water moisture content goes at around 5 to 7, but even 8 is not bad. But if you are able to dry it completely, the better, before you keep them. Those seeds like maize, beans, and rabra. But for the wet plants, there are those people, okay, you can still identify them when they're still in the garden. Like for example, for tomatoes, you have seen that fruit that you really want, you feel like it has a nice shape, it has good color, the plant produces maybe you don't want tomato with a lot of water or a lot of sap, so you want that dry tomato. So you can decide, this is the plant, this is the fruit I'm going to keep. So what you do, number one, you will remove, you will have a container and some water. Then you will remove all the seeds, you will put them in the water, and you let them ferment for about 2 to 3 days. Then remove the seeds, clean them, and dry them. When you dry them, ensure you dry them under a shade, possibly, and ensure wherever you're drying them from, there is no moisture to avoid rotting, and ensure, of course, they are not going to be invaded by pests, because sometimes they're invaded by pests and you end up losing your crop. I mean, you end up losing your seeds. Drying the wet seeds. Look at this. You can have a plate where you're drying your tomatoes. You put them all, even a newspaper. You can decide to put them on a plate or a newspaper, and then you put them under a shade or somewhere for them to dry up. Give them like 3-4 days, or even 5 days, depending on the situation of the weather at your place. Then you'll be able to know whether they are dry or not. After you dry them completely, put them in a glass container. If you don't have a glass container, you use the khaki paper. Do not use the plastic bag because you remember that seeds are living, so you don't want to kill them. And then keep them and ensure you label the container of what seed is there, variety of the seed, when you dried the seed, and just label that seed in a way that you will know this seed was from this day, was from this block in the garden, like that. And then when you're keeping it, let it keep it away from moisture, and completely ensure there is the container is airtight to avoid any kind of rotting of the seed. Yeah, for the storage containers, look at here, you see some glass containers. This is the papers I'm talking about. There is this thing called silicone. I don't know whether you have seen that. This silica from the seeds. So if you get it, the better. You throw it inside you take the excess moisture. Where do we store our seeds? Ensure they're in cool, dry, and dark place. Again, the container should be airtight. Some seeds are better stored in a refrigerator, especially some moisture content. That is the best. And then you can freeze them if you want, but not a must. Problems that we face when you're keeping seeds. Number one, temperatures variation. If your area is not stable with temperatures, then your seeds might really get some imbalances. Like if it is too hot, sometimes the viability of that seed, especially when subjected to too hot condition, then the viability becomes very low. Again, moisture fluctuation. If you're not able to get the silica gel inside the container, then and also remember to remove it after 7 days after you put it in the container. Then there will be a problem, because that seed will have mold, and eventually it will rot. So that it will whenever it will have moisture, of course now aflatoxin start getting in, mold, and so you end up having no seed. After drying the seed, ensure there is no mold. Mold and moisture are the worst with the seeds whenever you're keeping your seeds. Again, we have insects. For example, we have rats and weevils. These again are challenges when we are keeping our seeds. Ensure you keep your seeds away from rats and from weevils. How long can I keep my seeds? You may ask yourself that. Normally we say, if I start keeping my seed this year, for the next like 2 to 3 years, that seed will be very good. But as the years go down, like 5, 6 years, then the viability goes down. So even if we talk about 5 years or 7 years, just know, like, the longer the seed stay, the lower the viability. So some seeds will stay even for 5 years, like cucumber, even radish. Some seeds like maize, beans, generally for them we say for about 5 years. And there are some seeds that we don't want to keep for very long, like onions. We don't want to keep them for long. They will not germinate. I don't know whether you have ever gone to an agro vet to buy seeds. You buy them and then you plant and none comes out. So it is important when you're buying seeds then to check on the dates of packaging. Our seeds, especially our indigenous seeds, are in threat, especially today. Why? Because we are encountering so many external things, like for example, the emergency or the coming in of genetically modified seeds. Of course, those seeds are patented, meaning they belong to somebody else. And if it happens that there is cross-pollination and your seeds are affected by the genetically modified seeds, you end up having somebody's seed in your garden. So that is one challenge. Number 2, especially those who are in Kenya, we have a punitive law that says farmers should not share their seeds because they are not treated or they are not clean for replanting, or they can take some pathogen, I don't know what. So, and you ask yourself, sometimes back, for parents used to share seeds, and there was nothing like they are going to, when I bring my half a seed in my farm, they're going to spoil my seeds. I don't know what happened. But now, because the big companies want to sell their seed, of course, to us, definitely they will come up with this punitive law to prohibit the farmers from sharing seed. I don't know what about other countries apart from Kenya, but in Kenya, it is illegal for a farmer to share seed with the other farmers. Again, we have these hybrid seeds. Whenever we have a lot of hybrid seeds, even some people will feel lazy to save their own seed because they will know even the next season, I'll still have seeds because I'll go to an agrovet, I will get seeds, and not remembering that we have our own seeds that we need to preserve. Our own seeds are well adapted to our areas, and they are not they are resistant to pests and diseases, and they are also resistant to our harsh weather conditions. And so we feel like our indigenous seeds are still our best. How to know whether seeds are good? Like for example, when you have kept your seeds and you have preserved them for maybe for 2 years, how do you know whether your seeds are good for now planting again? You can do your test at home. What you do, how you do it, you just get a cotton wool and wet it. If it is like you want to plant, like for example, you had preserved sukuma wiki, and you want to know whether those seeds are viable, they are going to germinate. You put like, you're going to count like 10 seeds. You put them on that cotton wool that is wet. Then cover it with a toilet paper and maybe leave it there and ensure it is wet enough. To ensure that it maintain the moisture, you can wrap it with a plastic bag, the way you see the that photo here. You wrap it, but remember to leave the sides open for aeration. Then after 6 days, come and open your paper and count how many seeds have germinated. If you have you had kept like 10 seeds and 9 have germinated, then you have 90% germination rate. If they have germinated 4, then you have 40%. And we say, if you have tested your germination rate and your germination rate is below 75, my friend, don't take those seeds to the shamba, because you'll end up wasting your time. You come later to find that they did not even germinate. If they're not about 80%, 90%, just leave it. At 40%, completely don't take it to your farm, because of course, now when you're growing them, you're using water, you're using resources, you're using your time. So don't keep those ones. Okay. We are headed to the last slides of my presentation. And maybe this is just for your reference of some seed information materials. You can read a lot of seed materials like this one, Seed to Seed from Suzanne, the new seed starter, breed your own vegetables, saving seeds, seed sowing and saving, vegetable seed saving. There are so many books that you can refer to. Okay, and to my final thoughts. To be sure, your seed breed, when you're planting your seed, ensure that your seed that you want to preserve for life is a heirloom variety. If it is a hybrid, then you're in trouble. If it is a GMO, then you're in trouble. Make sure you're preserving a heirloom seed. Number 2, consider starting out with a self-pollinated plant. The self-pollinated plants, like tomatoes, they are better because you don't have issues with pollination that brings bridges your breed. Again, for cross-pollinated plants, grow one variety and share with other seed savers. Like for example, if your farm is 1 acre, just ensure that one variety is the one that you're growing in that 1 acre, or whatever the space you have, ensure you don't have two varieties because they are going to cross-pollinate. If you want to, again, I've said here, share it with other seed savers, is to ensure that even if yours get spoiled, you still have some other people who have the same variety, so that you lose it, all of you. Again, whenever you want to plant, to ensure that you get the best seed, test your seed before planting. The seed germination rate. Again, you don't want to plant a seed, then stay like for a whole one season, then you just get very few seeds that are germinated. So ensure you test your seed germination. Here is a small boy and somebody who is asking him, are you sure you also seed? And she's giving an advice. Can I send you to CSHEP, GBIAC, Biology, or Seed Savers to learn about seeds and seed saving? And for me, I'll say, come, you are welcome. There are organizations like Seed Savers, like Biology and GBIAC, they also do seed saving, and they have a lot of good work in seed saving. So it is very important. Let us save our seeds to save our future. Our seeds, our heritage, our food sovereignty. Remember always to share seeds. We are farmers, so we want to keep sharing our seeds. Thank you. Madam Ratemo.
Thank you so much, Esther. I'm standing in for Ratemo. Thank you for the beautiful presentation you've made. And I'm going now to moderate the question and answer session. And I'll be reading the questions, and then Esther, you can answer or ask any of the other trainers in the room to help. So the first question is on germination process of garlic gloves. This is from Petit. Is asking how he can move from the gloves to seedlings. Esther?
Germination, repeat that question, Madam Grace.
Yes. Petit is asking about the process of germination of garlic gloves to seedlings.
Okay. Do we take questions and then we answer later, or we can just answer?
I think you can answer that one as you move.
Yeah. For garlic, you only need to ensure that the clove, that small clove, you split it from the mother plant. Let us say you have this one bulb. You remove all the cloves and ensure each clove has some pimple, look like pimples there down for rooting, because normally that is a mistake we do. We remove garlic and we don't ensure that they have the rooting pimples. So whenever you keep it for rooting, the roots don't come out. If you happen to cut that garlic and you find you have cut that area with the small pimples, they are down, that one is not good for germination. So you can decide to put it in a plastic bag. Some people will put it in a plastic bag for faster germination. You remove all the clouds, then you put them in like a small paper bag, like the ones we used to put in sugar. Then you give it like 4 days or 5, and then you will see some shoot coming out. Then when you plant and there will be some roots, Then if you want to let it grow the roots up to a level that they can be transplanted, you will keep like for 2 weeks. And then they will have developed the roots. Then when you're planting that garlic, ensure you put it upside down. The roots should touch the root very well, the soil, and cover that garlic. Even the green thing that comes out, make sure you cover it underground for it to shoot again. Yeah. And ensure whenever you're planting garlic, you put enough manure for the germination, because garlic is an onion, is in onion family, and onion family, you know, they are heavy feeders. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Esther. You've answered so well. I'm sure Petet is okay now. The other question asked by Emmanuel is asking the use of cow dung in relation to seed preservation.
Yeah, initially, even at my place, my home place, my granny used to preserve her seeds, maize, with soot or cow dung. I don't know the idea behind that, but all I know is that they were not attacked by pests, especially the weevils. They never attacked that maize. So I don't want to say what the active ingredients are there. All what I know is that they do a good job.
Yes, I see Ferdinand has asked to help on answering that question. Ferdinand, kindly take over.
Yes, the use of cow dung is a tradition actually, and they actually do the burning of the cow dung, so that forms some carbon layer, and you know, there was a lot of indigenous wisdom in our traditions, because the dried cow dung also contains the beneficial microbes, so that a combination of these microbes around that carbon layer, that also keeps the seed more viable. And it's just about viability, keeping the seed viable. And it was through observation that seeds that have that carbon layer or are preserved with either the ashes or the dry cow dung, which has been made into powder, will actually contain the beneficial microbes, which will help in preserving life. This is just practice, and when we talk about agroecology as a practice and integration of the traditional wisdom and the knowledge is important. Modern science gives us the knowledge to see what is contained in that cow dung and what makes those seeds more viable. And that integration is very important. That knowledge is very important. Thank you.
Yes, Ferdinand, thank you so much. Maybe you can say something about the smoking of a seed as well, having talked about the indigenous knowledge. If you can comment about that.
Yes, the smoking of seed is just about the carbon layer that is formed. You know, smoke has the carbon dioxide. So when it's the heat, moderate heat, not so much, but the formation of the soot, which is just carbon, that is a protective layer. So some of those insects, especially the boring insects, the family of the beetles, that usually the brachids and the beetles, especially on maize and beans, when they find that protective layer, and that is not good food for them, so it becomes not suitable stuff for them. It's the same way when we have the fungicides and the copper-based materials that are actually used in the hybrids, that when the insect starts boring, it finds that there is that layer which is not food, so it just leaves that. And apart from the traditional knowledge, the modern science where they're using the chemicals is harmful to even the soil microbes, while the carbon is good for the soil. You just need the carbon, and it breaks down. It's a natural product, and there's no harm. Thank you.
Thank you, Ferdinand. Another question back to you, Esther. Yes. The other question is on the difference between a seed bank and a gene bank. This is a question from Annie.
Seed bank and a gene bank.
Yes.
Seed bank. It's where we just keep seeds. Any seed that you want to keep. But gene bank, there are those seeds that are highly varied. They are extincting, like, so they are kept like specified seeds. They are kept there. If you want them, you have to get records about what you want. A certain gene, like specified seed. But it is also a seed bank. It is also a bank. I mean, somewhere seeds are kept. But for gene bank, are specific for that certain variety of seed, that certain desirable quality. But for seed bank, it's just where you can keep, like the way we keep seeds, any kind of seed, but you want to preserve it. Yeah.
So in addition, in addition,
yes.
In addition to what Esther has said, the difference also, apart from the records, and the records here is that for gene bank, there is the classification and characterization of the particular seed. Any plant type or even animal types, you have the kingdom, the class, the family, the species, the genus. So that characterization, so that you even have the gene of a specific species. So that clear distinction, you can have, for example, maize, and you have all the different varieties, and there are so many, you can have even 100 different varieties, but now they actually have distinct characteristics because they've been characterized. So you talk about a gene bank. And for a seed bank, so this is just the storage. You can do the simple recording, this is just maize or this is beans, and you've just done the storage. So there's a difference between just storing and characterization and classification. In gene bank, there's also storage, but in addition to that, there's characterization and classification. Classification is most distinct and important. Thank you.
Thank you, Ferdinand, for the addition. And actually, I think that is one question that appeared severally, but as you've clearly put, it is a gene bank is where seeds are kept for specific genotypic characteristics, as my colleagues have rightfully put. The other question is on viability, and I think Esther answered this so well, like the long-term, short-term. So somebody, Augustine, was asking on how long do I store my seeds? I don't know if, Esther, you still need to say one word, but I am sure you answered so well when you were trading. Esther, maybe you can mention in passing.
Yeah, as I said there before, whenever you're keeping your seeds, remember, from year 1 to year 3, those seeds normally are very good. If you have freezed them or you have refrigerated them, the viability can even be better up to 10 years. But if you have not refrigerated the seeds from 3 years, then just know your viability of your seed viability is getting low as we go by the years. Yeah.
Thank you, Esther. The other question is from Petit. I don't know exactly what he meant, but he's asking, how do I learn about seed breeding in Kenya, especially on basil seeds? I don't know if he meant where do I learn, or so the question is, according to him, is how. Maybe you can answer both how and where he can learn about seed breeding in Kenya.
I'm not so sure what he want to ask, because I hear the word basil. Maybe he want to know specific how to grow basil, and I don't know, because learning about seed saving and if you come at C-Shape, if you go to biology, if you go to seed savers, if you go to GBAC, you learn about seed saving and multiplication. But now when you go to that specific plant, you will need to know which variety you want, and if it is for export or if it is for local use, because again, that goes to a different level. Yeah.
Thank you, Esther.
I don't know whether Ferdinand had a different thinking about it.
No, it's the same. I think what you're saying, because the purpose of these processes is actually to support farmers. The objective of this discussion here and to support farmers understand. Multipliers can support farmers understand, but as you rightly put, if it's for export or for market, then that's at a different level, that you need to know the specific type of basil and its market requirements, so that you can be able to see how you can save that seed and you can grow. But basil are usually easy to grow. They are not very difficult. Thank you.
All right. The other question is on potatoes. Nkirote is asking, how do we save potato seeds?
Wow. Hey, potatoes.
Yes.
Potatoes, Nkirote, I want to let you know that today potatoes are being patented, meaning you can't, there are those seeds that you can't just keep. But anyway, just like any other seed, for potatoes you can keep it, but now you need to select the seed that you want to keep. You must select it. You must save it, and for potatoes, you will need to keep growing it every now and then, to keep planting it, because if you keep it for too long, then it will spoil up. I am not so sure what exactly you wanted to mean, Kirote, about the sweet potatoes. I mean potatoes, but like any other seed, select the seed that you want to keep, but don't keep it like in the shelves. Plant it, multiply it, and ensure you follow all the procedures to ensure that you keep multiplying that seed and it keeps growing stronger. So at the end of the day, you will have many and you'll have preserved the variety that you desired. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Here?
Yes, yes.
If you want to keep Irish or English potatoes for a long time, then you need to come up with a root cellar. A root cellar is another underground storage, or you can just dig a hole on the ground and maybe have a plastic container and continue your seeds inside and then cover with the soil or with other materials. So that will keep your potatoes for about 2-3 months before they start sprouting, so that now you can plant them. But storage of potatoes is a bit tricky, because after 2 weeks they start sprouting. That is if they're not kept well, but a root cellar will work so well Irish potatoes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Derito. I actually forgot about the Rusella and the way it is good. Yeah. Yeah, I hope Kirote has gotten the answer.
I don't know if this is the follow-up question or it's actually a different question from Kirote again. She's asking about the large-scale farmers. Like, for example, she's giving an example of 4 acres, that how can they save seeds? Is there specific bags for seed saving? So maybe she's asking about specific containers for large-scale farms to keep the seeds.
Like which seeds now? The potatoes?
She's not specific, she just mentioned seeds.
Because if it is like for cereals, for 4 acres is not so difficult. You will only need to mark the seeds that you want to select for saving and dry them the way it's dried normally, and keep it in a safe way, like I explained there before. But for tomatoes, for potatoes, 4 acres, she will really need that Rusella. Yeah.
And maybe for cereals,
Yep.
maybe for cereals like maize or beans, the ones that are known as dry seeds, and they are not, if they are not kept for a long time, that is, if it's a big piece of land, she can use hermetic bags. These are bags that have several layers of plastic inside, and then outside is the normal material. But then that cannot keep the seed for long because the seed will lose its viability. But a seed bank can keep any amount of seeds that they want, as long as the condition and the environment inside is okay. So it's possible to save seeds even for 10 acres. It doesn't matter, as long as the seeds are saved well and they have followed all the rules and regulations of seed saving.
Thank you, Sam. There's also another question. I think potatoes is eliciting a lot of reaction online. There's a Masiza asking, can you use the seeds that are gotten from the potato fruit and not the potato itself?
Yeah, there is a lady who used to plant that potato fruit seed. And okay, it's quite a lot of work. I want to assure you that's a lot of work. But you can do it and get pure plant the way you wanted it, because now that produces exactly what you want. But you see, like the other potato, the seed itself, the potato, the one that we eat, that will just hurriedly give you food and seed. But that one, the fruit from the, seed from the small fruit, you'll have to like take it to a nursery. You see the way I've talked about saving seed from wet plant, wet fruit, like
wet seeds,
like passion. That's the procedure you use to save that seed. To grow that food crop. Yeah.
Again, Esther.
Yeah.
The viability of the potato seed viability is very low.
Yes.
It has to undergo a lot of processes so that it germinates, and that's why mostly the seed is gotten from the potato itself, because it has to be taken to the lab, and they use the rooting hormone, the germination hormones. It's a very big process. Like out of 10, maybe only 1 can germinate. So it's a very tedious process to take it into the lab.
And on the other hand, I've also seen some people germinating potatoes from cutting. You see the way we have cuttings, they do the cuttings and then they put them in the rooting hormone, and then they germinate some root and then they plant. and it will also give some potatoes. But also that one is a delicate one. So I still go back to the potatoes. Yeah, to the potato seed.
Thank you, Esther. I'm going to have to ask around 2-3 questions so that you can answer together because they are similar. Elizabeth Marunga, I think she's from Zimbabwe, is asking about how to harvest seeds from cabbages. Mary Thuku is asking about getting seeds from ginger and turmeric and how we can plant them. So maybe you can answer those questions together. So we have cabbage, ginger, and turmeric.
Yeah, for cabbage, you'll have to wait that cabbage to overgrow. If you let it overgrow, okay, sometimes some cabbages will not produce some seed, but some will. But now, to get the seeds, you let it grow completely, overgrow, and then it will start producing something that will come from the center of that cabbage and grow like a flower. Then you wait for it to produce the flower and get the seed. That is, and then for the cabbage seed, remember they shatter. So at one point you'll need to cut the stalk and put it in a bag and dry them from inside the house or somewhere. But because if you leave it in the garden, it will just shatter. With the turmeric and ginger, that is so easy because you're going to use the normal ginger that we have, but then you choose the one that has some things like pimples, and those things like look like pimples. They are the germinating place. They will eventually, okay, if you want to germinate them, you can decide to put them in the soil. We germinate the garden.
And the carrot, some other families there require very cool condition for them to produce seeds. So it depends on where you are, so that you produce seeds on cabbages. So a semi-arid or hot condition, cabbages will never produce seeds unless you follow some other scientific processes where you uproot the cabbage. When it's fully mature, you put it in a fridge, and then it stays for about 2 weeks, and then you return it back again to the soil. That's when now it will crack up here and now produce the shoot for the seed. But if you're in a cool climate, it's cold climate, it's easy to produce the cabbage seed. So it's not easy. It's not everywhere that cabbage will produce seed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derito. I actually oversaw that because I come from Kinangop, and whenever we want to get seeds from carrot and cabbage, we can get them because the place is so cool. I didn't remember the other side of hot area. Yes, it is very true. Whenever you want to get seed from cabbage, you can you only either refrigerate it if you're in if you're in dry condition, or you produce it from a cool area like in the mountainous region. Yeah.
Thank you, Esther. 2 questions as we come towards the end of the question and answer session about the seed bank. Annie is also asking, to what temperature can we refrigerate the seeds? And the other question from the same Annie is on accessioning in the seed bank. So he's asking, what about accessioning in the seed bank? And the other question is, to what temperature can we refrigerate the seeds?
Did it take over?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Derito is not there. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get the second question.
Okay, let me repeat the questions. The first question is, what about accessioning in the seed bank? That is one question. The other question is, to what temperature can we refrigerate the seeds? Both questions are from Annie.
Seeds can be stored even in negative degrees, doesn't matter, because the colder it is, the better for the seed, and the longer it will last. As long as the seeds have been processed very well and they have tested the germination rates for the seed and it's viable, so it can last as long as you want, as long as it's cool. So negative, that is still fine. The second question is not very clear for me. Esther, can you answer that?
I'm also not so clear. That's why I was giving accessioning in seed bank. What's that?
I am also not sure about the question. Accessioning. ACCESIONING in the seed bank.
Maybe it's, I don't know, let me just, maybe she means about access. You know, how do you access it? I don't know, maybe if that is the case, unless she gets, I mean, she puts it clear.
If it is to access the seed banks are all over. Esther has already said that if you're in Western Kenya, you go to Biogi. If you are in around Thika, you come to GBIAC. If you're in Gilgil, you go to Seed Servers. If you're in Kikuyu, you go to Seychelles. If it's accessing.
All right.
Yes, and organizations and also farmers and multipliers can encourage farmers to also now do their seed saving, so that within after a season they can also, especially those seeds that they are very sure of and are disappearing and of demand, so that all of us can actually have that spirit of saving seeds and also be part of a larger movement. Thank you.
Let me read two inputs from our followers. One is Biwot Elias. He's saying, worked for potato project in Elgeyo Marakwet County, and the potato cold stores made of charcoal with water drip on top can go below 6 degrees, can save seeds for long up to 1 year. Also use of DLS stores and underground pits. But he's saying, remember, any increased change in temperature can lead to deterioration of the seeds. The other input is from Beatrice Wayaki. She's saying the best way for ginger is to sort and bury in soil for 1 month. I think he's talking about the germination of getting ginger seeds. Those are the two inputs. And finally, these are the last questions. I don't even know how to ask this one here, Mami, but Irene is asking if lentils can grow in highland areas. Well, Mami is asking, what is the spacing of planting saget or saga or spider plant and how it's used as vegetable? Those are the final questions.
Thank you for that. For spaghetti planting, most of the time we don't put spaghetti in nursery. We put them direct to the beds, and normally we say for you not to put so much or to cross space them. If it is possible, add, if you have 1 spoon of spaghetti seeds, add 2 spoons of sand, the construction sand. That will ensure good spacing when you're putting them on the bed. And again, for spaghetti, they are not so difficult to grow. For cooking, hey, let me request somebody else to talk about the cooking of spaghetti as vegetable, but I know it's very good vegetable. I have eaten them, but I don't know how to cook them.
Maybe Ferdinand from Western Kenya.
Thank you. Saget, or the spider herb, yeah, is normally mixed with you call it terere or amaranth, because it's usually bitter, So it's usually cooked together with amaranth to reduce the bitterness, and there are various methods of cooking. So we have the traditional method of cooking, normally in a cooking pot, and first of all they are washed. I mean they are cleaned. I mean washed. You pluck the soft parts, and also the flowers are edible, and the soft parts, not just the leaves, but the soft parts, and then if you have the 2 mixtures or even 3 mixtures like the African nepas, that makes it even softer and reduces the bitterness. I remember the bitterness is because of an alkaloid, but it's got a lot of nutrients when you mix the 3 of them or the 2 of them. I normally put in a pot, cooking pot, boiled. And we nowadays we do not recommend that you pour the water, but instead now once you just put some little water. Once it's boiling or simmering, then you add some milk or some cream, and once it's softened enough, I mean after about 20-30 minutes, then you can eat. And you know the purpose of adding milk or cream, this is to preserve the vitamins, because the green vegetables have got the ADEK vitamins A, D, E, and K. These are fat-soluble vitamins. And again, just borrowing from our traditions, our ancestors and our forefathers knew that these vegetables need some preservation. So the milk or the cream has got the oils, I mean the fat that preserves that vitamin. So the vitamins will dissolve in that fat, and that is the most important thing in the cooking. Otherwise, there are those now who just use, I mean they can cook like sukuma wiki. You may not eat it if you cook like sukuma wiki, because it will be very bitter because of the alkaloid. But when you mix it with the others, it will have that little bitterness reduced. And then if you keep on adding more milk, then you find that the bitterness disappears. But then you have a lot of fiber, and you also have the vitamins preserved. And normally in the traditional one, they even don't add salt. But nowadays, people add some salt when they are cooking those ones.
Thank you, Ferdinand. I think you've not, Esther, you did not answer the lentils growing in highland areas. Can they grow? I really waiting for the answer. Yes, lentils. Yeah.
That will be so difficult, because they do very well in a very dry area, in the dry areas. Otherwise, lentils, when they are growing in cool areas, they will give you a lot of good leaves, very nice looking. But harvest from the seed, I am not so sure whether you get anything. They like a very dry condition.
Correct. Arid and semi-arid regions like Machakos area, you know, Eastern in general, they do so well. But in highlands, I doubt.
So finally, I think we will not take more questions, but there is this one from Rutendo Makichi from Zimbabwe. She's asking if there is any organic chemicals that can be used to increase seed germination or viability before planting. She's asking about if there is a rooting hormone or something that is organic.
Yeah, there is. There is, Mr. Derito. Can we do the rice?
Yes, there is a rooting hormone that is made organically, where you use rice. Use rice. And also you soak rice in water, and then you'll add some molasses. You'll also add a few other ingredients. I think I better send that to the group. Let me send it to the group so that people understand. But it's done organically. But you use rice, or some people also use lentils, but you just mix with other ingredients, and it works so well as a rooting hormone.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a very maybe small recipe. I don't know whether the person maybe has a pen and paper, but just very short one. You can use lentils. So I have about 1 kilogram of lentils, and soak them in water, and remove them and put in cloth container or newspaper so that they germinate. Leave them to germinate for about 2-3 days. Once you see them starting to germinate, you crush them and mix with the 2 liters of water, and then you just sieve, and then dip your seeds, cover or just dip them before you can do the planting. But there are so many other rooting hormones. I think we can have another further discussion on the rooting hormones. You can also use coconut water and lemon juice. You can also use maize. That one is very simple, just the fresh one seed, but we can have another forum for that.
Sure. Thank you, Ferdinand, and thank you, Sam. You talked of sharing something with the group. That would be awesome. And as we come to the end, I see Dr. Mihindo in the room. Can you give, can you make a closing remark?
So the data ampata only can.
Daktari. Looks like Daktari is far. So I'll, before we wind up, maybe I'll give Esther. Aha, sawa Daktari, nimekupa nafasi. Meanwhile, maybe Esther, you can give your closing remarks. If he gets in, he will say something.
My closing remarks are just what is on the screen. Let us save our seeds. This is this to save our future. Our seeds, our heritage, our food sovereignty. If we don't have seed, then we don't have food, and we don't have food seed. We don't have food freedom. We will always depend on others. Remember, wherever you have seeds, share with your friends and neighbors to preserve the desirable variety. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. I liked the questions, and I hope I did not bore you so much.
Thank you, Esther. That was a wonderful presentation. Daktari, are you in now? Looks, if Daktari is not ready, then maybe any master trainer with something before I can hand over to Ratemo to close for us officially. Sam, Ferdinand.
Yeah, thank you for the good questions, and I hope the multipliers have grasped something, and they can be able to share with the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ferdinand. Sam?
Yeah, I think the end product of all this, what you're doing, is the farmer, and so let us all put our might so that we reach out to our farmers so that we can help them to grow food. We need food in Kenya. We don't want to struggle, because now if farmers don't get the information, and even the right or correct information, then they'll not do a good job. So let us take correct information, right information. Yeah, wherever we are, let us do something so that we grow food, and not just food, but sustainable production of food, which is clean, healthy, and affordable. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Let me also take this opportunity to appreciate Esther. You've done very good job well done. And the team for supporting in answering the questions. And of course, the participants, you've been very active. And I've realized there is a lot of interest when it comes to seed saving. And maybe PELUM will organize for other forums in the future where we can build on the areas that has been elicited a lot of reaction. Back to you, Ratemo.
Thank you, Grace, for moderating the session. Yeah, I want us to now close for the day, but before we do that, I want to invite Ferdinand to just talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a session on livestock integration. We have people online. What do they expect from a trainer and the team leader? So just a brief.
Yeah, thank you. I think livestock integration is important in agroecology farming systems, because when we are talking about diversity, how do we integrate these, and how do we recycle, especially in the area of recycling nutrients that livestock actually complement the cropping systems and the agroforestry systems. So I think it would be good to see how that complementarity happens and why that is important in our creating our sustainable food systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Ferdinand. You've heard it from the trainer. So tomorrow from 10 to 12, please tune in so that we can learn about livestock integration. And you know, the small livestock, big livestock. So everyone or every farmer may have some livestock. It's important we learn how to integrate in our farming systems. So without further ado, I want to request all the master trainers online to just switch on the camera so that our viewers and listeners can see who was online, including myself. So we want to say thank you and see you tomorrow at 10. So bye-bye from PELUM. You can just and say bye to our listeners.
Thank you so much, Ratemo.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. So I've stopped sharing the live stream. I think amazing.